Welcome to Summit 2021. I'm Amanda Renteria, and this is my first summit as CEO. I gotta say, this isn't exactly according to plan. I was hoping to be with you in person, but we believe in flexibility and iteration, so here we are, virtually with all of you. Let me begin by thanking our summit co-chairs, Arlene Corbin-Lewis and Ryan Coe, the entire 8-person content committee, and Contagia Placide, our event producer, for their tireless work in organizing the summit in these still challenging times and in an all virtual format. And thank you, all of you, for connecting in. And even more importantly, thank you for your commitment to this work. Given everything that we have and are going through, there's never been a more important time to come together. And it will take all of us and all we got to fulfill the theme of this summit, to design an equitable government. As we look back, it's been a year of extraordinary challenges for all of us in communities across the country and around the world. It's also been a year of reckoning with the status quo, finally pushing for meaningful progress on issues that have been sidelined for generations. Today, we are seeing policies that can set a new foundation for our country. As someone from an underserved farm working town in the Central Valley of California, with parents who grew up in the fields as farm workers, I lived my early years with both fear and hope ever present. A dad from Zacatecas, Mexico, who deeply believed in the inspiring vision of America, the land of opportunity, and at the same time was too often quieted, discriminated against, looked down upon because of his accent or the deep poverty he experienced. Even as a kid, it never seemed quite right to me that poverty was a whisper reality in America, or that racial injustices was an accepted truth no one talked about, yet it was all around. I saw the development of more prisons than schools or hospitals where I grew up, even though education and health outcomes were some of the worst in the entire country. In my lifetime, we became the region with more prisons per capita than any other, while education levels and health outcomes dropped. Given all that, you might wonder why I decided to try and change government, an institution that's hard to trust for people of color and the daughter of an immigrant father, especially right now. But I have been dedicated to public service because I still believe government is the place we can make change at scale. I was first a high school teacher in my hometown, later a chief of staff in the United States Senate, then national political director for a presidential campaign, and the chief of operations for California's Department of Justice. And with each role, I learned the same exact lesson. We needed the system itself to change, a mindset shift, a different perspective, a new way. As I look back on my 20 years of public service, this is the time I knew would eventually come. For the first time in my career, in my lifetime, we are seeing an openness to systemic changes in government. We are finally naming truths that have existed for many of us for a long time and acknowledging our own power for change. Since our founding a decade ago, a core part of Code for America's work has always been to create systems that work for everyone and to center the people who use government services. And in the wake of the compounding crises of the past year, we realized that we needed to make explicit what has always been foundational in our work, that we have a responsibility to design equitable government services, to be a force for systemic change, and center the needs of the most marginalized. And so as we gather for this summit, we see the monumental tasks ahead and a window of opportunity to make fundamental changes in how government works and for whom. How we act now matters for the kind of government and country we'll have for generations to come. Our part as Code for America has been to foster a volunteer civic tech network, hello brigades who are out there, and build an organization that partners with governments to rethink and reimagine the way government serves the public, making it easier for people to access food assistance and health coverage by modernizing the online enrollment process, promoting economic justice by helping marginalized communities access tax benefits and encouraging state governments to adopt auto record clearance and clean slate policies. As we look to the future, we're energized by this moment of change and conviction to address some of our society's toughest challenges, and hopeful that all of us together can make the difference that's needed. So we stand at the ready to help serve the American people in a human-centered, equitable, and outcomes-focused way. In doing that, we look forward to creating the government we've all hoped for, a government by the people, for the people, in the digital age. And that's a great starting point for our kickoff conversation.